So I'll take from what we hear. They trying to check for him for sleeping. And when they want out the things in me, they don't want him still prepared for weed. Him man punch lad, bring him iron to spend it. This time is so hard, lad. I'm mad nothing for him.
All right, people, we're talking with Wayne Armond from Chalice. We're talking about late Pluto Shervington, God rest his soul. Wayne, I think you have a lot of information that people would want to hear. Let's start by telling me how you met Pluto.
Okay, well, I was a young teenager, probably about 13 or 14, just actually starting to get into music. And my mom was working at Denno and Geddes, and they put her in charge of an event to be the organizer for a dance that they were having for the staff. And she had to go and audition bands to play. So she was going to audition this particular band, and she asked me if I would like to come. And I said, sure, because being interested in music. And I went, and I don't remember where it was, probably somewhere in Mona. And there was this band called The Presidents. And what attracted me most to The Presidents is that there was a young man playing bass, just maybe a couple of years older than I was. And the band was very good. I heard them playing a lot of popular songs at the time and when I'm listening. But I was particularly interested in the young bass player because to see a man of, I was used to seeing bands on TV and even live like Byron Lee and the Virtues, the Vagabonds, the Vikings, big bands with horn section and of men, not of my generation. But now to see this youngster playing bass got me kind of interested. That was The Presidents. I was later to learn that was Pluto Shervington. I don't even know if he was going by the name Pluto yet. But however, I then found out that he was also my schoolmate. He was in a higher form at St. George's College. And knowing that now, I decided to go to him and seek advice as to how to play my instrument properly. And we kind of developed a friendship there from school. He left, probably was there for a year, and because he was in a higher form than me, and then he left school. But then he also left The Presidents, and then he joined a band called Tomorrow's Children, which was a big, big influence on a lot of us uptown and midtown musicians, youngsters from high school who wanted to play music. So I probably have known Pluto from 1965, 66, let's say. And spoke to him at school, and he used to write out the cards for me whenever I asked him, how you play an A minor chord, he would write out the fingering positions and show me, and I'd go home and practice it. So it was very helpful then.
Did you get a chance, Wayne, did you get a chance to perform with him during those early years?
No, not during those early years.
All right, so when did you first perform with him?
Oh, not until the 90s.
Where was that?
He came back to Jamaica after migrating to Florida and formed a band and asked me to be a part of that band. So I worked in his band for probably about 3 years before he went back to Florida. But when he moved to Florida after Tomorrow's Children had broken up, he formed his own band, Pluto and Friends. And they had a huge session at Sundays on the Bay. It was a regular thing every week. Sundays on the Bay was probably where all the diaspora who had left Jamaica in the 70s, they would gather at Sundays on the Bay and Pluto and reminisce Jamaica good times and have a good Jamaican bash there. And when Chalice was already established in Jamaica, but whenever we came by in Florida, we used to drop by Sundays on the Bay and we would jam. We would jam with his band. But seriously playing with him wasn't until the 90s when I started to work with his band.
Tell me some of the venues that you played when you're working with his band.
In Jamaica or here.
Both
Because we
places.
used to come up. Well, we used to come up once a month to Florida, and I don't remember the name of the venues, but there were mostly venues on the beach and probably some private things. And in Jamaica, we used to play at the Countryside Club. That was one venue when it just started. And a lot of private gigs, because Pluto was well known among the upper echelons of Jamaican society, and he used to get these really nice gigs. A story I remember from playing with him once was there was turbulent times in Jamaica because of political violence, and we had this gig to play at one of the more prominent politicians who had just built a big house up in the hill somewhere, and we were asked to come and play for the housewarming. And it was like almost an eye-opener for me to see all of the labor rights and all of the comrades loving on one another and shaking hands and drinking together and dancing together and having a great time. And I could only look down from the mountain overlooking Kingston and say, boy, if just the people down at Tivoli and Trenchtown and Arnett Gardens could have seen what's going on up here, they wouldn't fire one more shot for these guys. Because all of them is just brethren, same way, and using politics to divide the country.
Yeah, tell me something, Wayne. What, in your opinion, made Pluto so popular and loved as a Jamaican musician and artist?
All right, that is easy. I have to use Michael Jackson as a example on a global thing, because Michael Jackson was one of those global artists who was loved and revered by all ages. Youths love Michael Jackson. Middle-aged people love Michael Jackson. Old people could have found something in Michael Jackson to love. And that was what made him a megastar that he was. It wasn't just appealing to one generation. No, with Pluto broke through on the Jamaican scene when all this uppity people with them nose in the ear would look down at Miss Lou and what is this woman bastardizing the great English language. Pluto was able to break through with his humor of Rambo, Livan, that, and Your Honor, singing patois lyrics, but appealing also to the uptown crowd as well as the downtown crowd. So cross barriers in Jamaica. And that was what made him and Ernest Smith the legends that they are today, especially in Jamaica.
Wayne, using the measure of the crowd engagement, how much the crowd enjoyed a particular song, tell me what would you say is his most popular song based on your performing with him in the band, and how the crowd reacted.
Eman Banya, I would say, is probably number one, followed closely by Rambo Liver. those two songs. But ironically, the song that made its way onto the British charts and was a hit in the UK, which is kind of strange to me, but it did. It found an appeal with the diaspora and the British audience in England.
I know you
But
do a lot of shows as your one man gig, and
right,
I've heard you perform some Pluto songs. Tell me which one you
yes,
really enjoy performing. Which one of Pluto's songs?
Your Honor.
Why is that?
Your Honor. It's just a brilliant, it's just a well written story, brilliant song, man. And it has Pluto. Pluto is one of them artists that don't really like to do no two chord reggae. People been telling him for years, why you have to do reggae? Yes, two chord reggae. And Pluto say, why should I do two chord reggae when my songs with arrangements and chord changes and bridge were big successes? So that's true. Most of the songs coming from Federal Records with Ernest Smith, Pluto Shervington, Ken Lazarus, they all were very musically done. So it appealed to a musician to play those songs. So I like Your Honor for that. Not only are the lyrics to me very humorous, but the musical part of it is challenging too.
For our listeners, take us through a little part of that song that you think is really, really humorous. Because I know you know all the words, right? So,
The best part of it to me, well, it's a song about a man who was arrested and found in somebody else's house. And the part I really like about it, after him appealed to the judge and him appealed to um, the third verse is now when he is behind bars and he's appealing to the corporal. And he said to the corporal, dear corporal, as you lock me in this prison, pray for I. Please, corporal, please don't leave me here to wonder why the court has made this blunder. Blame me for a crime that wasn't I. Corporal, when you're going to bring me dinner, send your mama or your sister. One more day of this I cannot bear. So it was really a sex star, man. But it was a good story. It
no,
was a good story.
Wayne, you did that so
Yeah.
well that I'm going to ask you to take me through another one of your favorites, right, from Pluto.
Well, look, Ramgoat Liver, I'm on Banya. All those songs are great. Um, but but he was so good at telling stories. Like for instance, the Rasta, um, um, their affinity to pork. The Rasta don't eat pork. So when you wrote this song um, about this Rasta who finding it hard to find a food money and him go to the butcher shop and him say, Rasta, as he from up the hill, decide to check on him grocery bill, but when him add up the things him need, he done it done where him take to buy little weed. Him man pan him jaw, lad, read him eye and just meditate. The time is so hard, lad. I man I think about immigrate. I forward a market and find the butcher boy by the gate. And the rest is the butcher say you want. fish, and you want meat, and you want chicken, and you eventually land on the pork, but you can't call it pork. So I'm saying, sell I a pound of that thing there. It's cheapest meat. But the way Pluto tells the story, man, it's hilarious. And everybody could relate. All Jamaicans could relate. So when that song come out, I mean, for at least a year or two after that, everybody was calling pork that. It was that. You go to the shop to buy a meal, and you ask them, "You have any that?" And one say, "Yeah, we have roast pork," or even the famous jerk pork become that. So
Yeah.
yeah, you had influence.
Yeah. Let's go back a little bit to Pluto and your relationship. Now, I believe you spoke to him probably within days or week or so of his passing. Tell me a
Right.
little bit about that.
Well, well, my birthday is 28th of December, and Pluto called me like 2 weeks into January, week and a half into January, and called me George and said, "Hey, George, I just calling you to wish you Happy New Year and happy belated birthday." And I said, "Thank you, man." And we spoke a little, but what was ironic, he said to me, "We should do a tune together, you know. You start write the tune." I have studio at my house, write the tune, come down here, we finish write it together, and we record it at my place. And I said to him, "That sounds great. That sounds like a great idea for the 24 year." And we said, "Oh, talk to you soon, all right, later." And that was like a week before. And then the Monday morning, I get this text that Pluto passed. And it was like, whoa, shock, shock.
Mm-hmm. I
I
know.
didn't, I didn't know. He sounded good to me on the phone. I didn't know he was sick, although I had heard that he had some problems in recent months where he had to be on oxygen for a while or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I never saw him because unfortunately he live all the way down in Kendall or somewhere like that. I'm up in Broward County, so
You don't like
but
to drive far, right?
not really, no. The last time I saw Pluto live was when we did Chalice did Pluto and Friends.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about that show and the interaction you had with Pluto.
Well, yeah, man, that show came off real good. Um, he called me, and he called me from the year before actually, and asked me, say he wanted. He said to me what he really did say was he's a bandsman. This is the exact word. I'm a bandsman. So we're having this. It was the debut show, the first one, and he was saying, "Boy, I want the show to be Chalice Inner Circle Third World. That's what I want on the show." And I thought it would be a brilliant idea because at no time in the history had those three bands played on the same stage at the same time. It was Third World and Chalice had played together um, in a circle, and Third World had played together, but not in a circle, Chalice and Third World. So, but then shortly before the show was to be advertised, he called me back and said, "Boy, I'm sorry, but the budget cannot um, go around for the three bands, so I'm have to use two, and I'm going to use Third World and Inner Circle because basically most of those guys live here in South Florida, whereas you're going to have to bring up from Jamaica a lot of the musicians from Chalice."
Mm-hmm.
So I understood. I said, "Okay, cool." But following year, which was when last year, I think it was, or the year before, I don't remember.
Might
When
be.
they had the second staging, when they had the second staging, I was one of the first people who called and said, "Well, I want Chalice to be on that show." and everything went well. Came up, did some nice rehearsing at Circle House, and had a successful show with him. I was very happy to do it. That's it. And we spoke on the phone um, after that. We don't speak that regular like every month, but we do keep in contact. When I need any advice or anything, and he can help me, I call him, and vice versa. I was actually trying to get a show done last year in November with me, himself, and Ernie. And we all agreed. Ernie agreed, Pluto agreed, and we couldn't tie down a venue. And so that went all right. And of course, that won't happen again.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I'm
that's
sorry that
why you
I
have
missed
to.
that.
They say you have to make hay while the sun shines. Right?
Definitely.
All right, Wayne. Nice to talk with you, and I'm certain that a lot of what you said, people probably hearing for the first time, and we expect that Pluto's work will live forever and will continue to influence other writers and musicians. So thanks a lot, Wayne.
Yeah, but let me just follow up what you just said, which is very important. You see what Pluto and Ernie and people like um, Loving Deer and this very humorous DJ name slip,
You're talking about
But
not Professor Nuts?
no, it's Professor Nuts, Professor Nuts. You see what they did for the music? It is essential. It is very essential for nowadays reggae musicians and dancehall musicians to see the humorous side of Jamaica and present it, because it is so it's like a relief from all the stress and strain that Jamaican people go through. So when I just advising all those youngsters coming up, whoever have the gift of humor, put it in your music and let people smile a while.
You know,
Thanks for the interview. I really appreciate it.
yes, but you know what you ended with sounds like the beginning of something new. So I guess we're going to be talking again soon and probably delving into the music, the humor, the writing, and all that kind of stuff, right? And probably some of the unique features of our music. So thanks again, Wayne.
No problem. Blessings.